Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna
Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhu eva cha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavyo namo namah. Samasta Vaishnavind ki jai, Namacharya Das Thakur ji ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Good morning, dear devotees. This is Shivani from Western Virginia. Please forgive me for stopping your beautiful chanting. I welcome you all to Bhakti Sanga Japa conference call for this mid-morning session. Let us move to our next part of the session. Today's topic is going to be on Madhurya Kadambini, session 6, which will be given by Her Grace Kirtida Sundari Mataji. May I know all have joined this morning?
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Jai Srila Prabhupada. This is Vilasini Devi Dasi from Atlanta. Thank you, Mataji, for your warm welcoming. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Pitu Lasni Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Garanga ki jai. Thank you so much for joining and giving a beautiful association this morning and for reciting so beautifully. All glories to your services. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Shivani Mataji, with my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Anita Ramya from Sharjah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Anita and Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Garanga ki jai. Thank you, Mataji, for joining and giving a wonderful association and all glories to all your services. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Shivani Mataji, Danvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Madhurya Kadambini from College Station, Texas. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vanita Kandorika Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Garanga ki jai. Thank you, Mataji, for joining and giving a beautiful association this morning. And all glories to all your savers. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga and all the assembled devotees. This is Yashamati Priya Devi Dasi from Cincinnati, and Priti Vilasini Mataji, you recited very nicely, very beautifully the chapter 7. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your blessings, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Yashamati Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Garanga ki jai. Thank you, Mataji, for joining and giving a beautiful associations this morning and for all your seva and beautiful chanting every day. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Shivani Mataji, Danvat Pranam to you and all Vaishnavas. Srila Prabhupada Srila Gurudev ki jai, Vrinda. Thank you,
Hare
Priti
Krishna.
Vilasini Mataji, Danvat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Vrindaga Gopika Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Garanga ki jai. Thank you, Mataji, for joining and giving a beautiful association and for your chanting. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji, Danvat Pranam. So glories to Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharajas and all the assembled Vaishnavas. This is Kirtida Sundari Dasi.
Hare Krishna Kirtida Sundari Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Garanga ki jai. Thank you, Mataji, for joining and giving a beautiful association this morning. All glories to your services. Waiting eagerly to hear from you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Once again, I welcome you all for joining this mid-morning session in Bhakti Sanga Japa conference call. I would like to start by sharing a quote by Srila Prabhupada ji. Temple means people should come. People should learn the science of God, not that to make a business of temple. Temple means spiritual education, shelter. People should come and learn what is spiritual life, what is God, what is my relationship with God. Calcutta, March 8, 1972. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Good morning, dear devotees. Today we're very fortunate to have Her Grace Kirtida Sundari Mataji. Mataji will be enlightening us on the topic of Madhurya Kadambini, session 6. Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. Kirtida Sundari Mataji, thank you so much for giving your valuable time and beautiful association this morning. Waiting eagerly to hear from you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Garanga ki jai. I hand over the call to you, Mataji. Please take over. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you so much, Shivani Mataji. Thank you for your services. Thank you each and every one of you for joining us today in this 6th session of Madhurya Kadambini. Thank you all so much. 5th or 6th, I don't even remember. 6th, I think so. Okay, so let's start with our Mangalacharan and then we'll proceed. Om Ajnanaatimirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shirupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakham Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Varevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Ananda Leelamaya Vigrahaya Hema Bhadivya Chavisundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasa Pradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Mukam karoti vācālam pangum langāyate girim yatkripahatam ham vande Shri Guru Dīnatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Ishwaram. So we'll recite the Mangalacharan verse of Madhurya Kadambini. Ridvaprenava bhaktishasya vitate Sanjivani Swagama Rambe Kamatapardudahadamani Vishvapagolasini Duran me marushakino pisarsi Bhavaya bhuyat prabhu Shri Chaitanya Kripa Nirankushamaha Madhurya Kadambini. Anybody wants to recite? Because we have already completed the first shava. Anyone wants to recite this Mangalacharan?
Can
Yes.
I? Okay, somebody else.
Krishna Sakhi Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavad Pranams. Thanks for the opportunity. Any mistakes, please excuse me. Ritva Prenava Bhakti Shasya Vitate Sanjivini Swagama Rambe Kamata Partudahadamani विश्वापगोलासिनी दूरान्मे मरुशाकिनोऽपि सरसी भावाय भूयात् प्रभु श्रीचैतन्यकृपानिरङ्कुशामः माधुर्य कादम्बिनी. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So beautifully recited.
All thanks to you, Mataji.
Thank you, all of you, for joining us. Before we start our second shower of Madhurya Kadambini today, I'll request each one of you to please shower your blessings, wishes, and prayers so that I can do some justice to the subject matter and speak something relevant in glorification of Madhurya Kadambini and purification of our own self. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhaiva cha patitanam bhavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki jai, Samasta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, all the assembled Vaishnavas ki jai. Okay, so we have already covered the first shower of this Madhurya Kadambini, and in the first shower we have already seen how Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur establishes the preeminence of Bhakti, how Bhakti Devi, she is self-manifested, she is self-illuminating, and she is supremely independent, just like our sweet Lord Shri Krishna, who is also Swarat, Abhigna Swarat. He is all cognizant, he is all independent. So Bhakti Devi is also independent. So we will not spend much of the time, because in the first shower, already through back and forth arguments and back and forth establishing the point that how through various logical, you can say, arguments and scriptural evidences, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has already established that how Bhakti Devi is self-manifest. Now we'll move on to our second shower of nectar of Madhurya Kadambini. But in the second shower, we'll skip the very first verse. Why we will skip the very first verse? Because in the very first verse only, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that those who are proceeding to the further showers of Madhurya Kadambini, he is pre-assuming that you are very much aware of the difference between Dvaitavad and Advaitavad. Means that those who are into this Dvaitavad and Advaitavad, they cannot have full focus on towards Bhakti, because Bhakti is done towards Bhagavan, that is towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is a personality, who is a person. So in the very first verse of the second shower, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that there should be no further discussion on Dvaitavad, because if someone wants to know, he says that if someone wants to know the explanation of simultaneously difference and non-difference, then they can go ahead and study another book that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has written, and that is Aishwarya Kadambini. So he says, now because we are discussing Madhurya Kadambini, so there is no need to discuss this Dvaita Dvaitavad. Okay, simultaneously oneness and difference, he said that there is no need to focus on it. So therefore we will also skip, we will follow in the footsteps of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and those who are really interested in all those 6 schools of division, then they can go ahead and read Aishwarya Kadambini, which is also written by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and commented by his disciple Baladev Vidyabhushan. Now, because we are just talking about the sweetness of the Lord, so we'll move forward with the second verse of Madhurya Kadambini, and we'll see what it is about. So the second verse of Srila Madhurya Kadambini is the intrinsic nature of sadhana bhakti and uttama bhakti. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur here describes that there are two types of bhakti. One is known as shuddha bhakti and the another is known as sadhana bhakti. Okay. So what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur wants to bring up this point, that those who are karmis, when they practice, right, their aim is to attain bhakti, to attain some heavenly bliss. Jnanis, they practice some kind of different types of self-control, renunciation, vairagya, and their goal is to merge into Brahman, to get Brahma Sayujya Mukti. Okay, so one is endeavoring towards bhakti, self-enjoyment, or to enjoy the heavenly bliss. The second category of the people, that is Jnanis, they are heading towards Brahma Sayujya, or to get Sayujya Mukti, merge into Brahman effulgence. Yogis, they also practice some nam, yam, niyam, different rules, asana, pranayama, but they also want to merge into super soul. They want to see super soul in their heart and they want to merge into Paramatma realization. But in all these cases, when they attain the stage of the perfection, the path is no longer needed. Okay? Like suppose, if those who are Jnanis, once they attain the Brahma Sayujya, then they don't need to practice different types of self-control or some meditation. No. Similarly, the karmis, once they get this heavenly bliss, what are they doing? They are simply enjoying. They are not performing any further practice of sacrifice. The yogis also, then they don't further practice the different postures of sitting or following different rules and regulations. So that means once they proceed towards the stages of perfection, the practices are reduced. Okay. They practically stop all their practices. So that means for all these people, those who are karmis, jnanis, yogis, for them, means and the goal, it's different. The do means to attain the goal. Once they achieve that goal, once they achieve their perfection, they minimize their means. But that's not the case in bhakti yogis. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that in bhakti yogis, our sadhana and our sadhya, means our means and our goal, is the same. There is no difference. The only difference is the intensity increases and it becomes more condensed. Like he gives the example that one who practices sadhana bhakti, the sadhana bhakti is the sadhan, is the path on which we walk and we achieve bhakti or we get bhakti. So that sadhana bhakti is just the path where we are starting, which will lead to bhava bhakti and prema bhakti, where the devotional practice or devotional services which we were doing in sadhana bhakti will be increasing in bhava bhakti and prema bhakti. It will not be stopped. Okay. The intensity will increase. The practice of performing that service will increase. Right? So whatever the bliss that somebody is enjoying in the sadhana bhakti, that bliss will be condensed. In sadhana bhakti, that bliss may be just be a thin layer. But in bhava bhakti and prema bhakti, which is the goal, which is the sadhya, which is the goal, in that the same bhakti is dense. Okay, in sadhana, it is thin. But when the stages of bhava and prema comes, then the same bliss, it becomes dense. So therefore, he says, it's just like an immature stage and the mature stage. And he himself gives the example of a mango. When the mango is unripe, it may taste a little bit sour. But the same mango, when it is worked upon or when it is left on the tree, okay, it is not plucked, it is left on the tree, then with all the heat of the sun and with all the sufferings that the mango bears or the bliss sometimes happiness that the mango bears makes the mango more ripened and it becomes more sweeter. The mango is mango. There is no difference. Okay? The only difference is the sweetness of the mango increases when the mango becomes the ripe mango. It becomes more sweet and it becomes more tasty. So therefore, he says that this sadhana bhakti, okay, there is a sadhana bhakti and there is a uttama bhakti. And uttama bhakti is referred to as bhava bhakti or prema bhakti. Those who have already done the Bhakti Shastri, they also know this, because in Nectar of Devotion, Rupa Goswami very clearly points out that the bhakti is sadhana bhakti and shuddha bhakti. But in sadhana bhakti, you practice. You practice your devotional service, and in shuddha bhakti, you attain that devotional service. But in shuddha bhakti also, the same practice of doing devotional service is not given up. Rather, it is increased multifolds. So for bhakti yogis, unlike the karmis, the jnanis, or the yogis, for bhakti yogis, the sadhana and the sadhya are the same. Having said that, then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he gives the meaning of what is uttama bhakti and what is sadhana bhakti. So we will first see what is uttama bhakti. What are the features of shuddha bhakti? So then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that actually this bhakti is a creeper. Okay, why bhakti is called a creeper? He says that this bhakti is a creeper and not an ordinary creeper, it's a wish-fulfilling creeper. So whatever you desire in your practice of devotional service, it comes true. And this creeper, why it is known as creeper? Because if you have seen a creeper, see, when you are seeing a tree, you sow a seed of a tree, normal tree, the tree will grow and it will have roots, shoot, branches, stems, leaves, so on and so forth. But when the creeper, the seed of a creeper is sown, the creeper will not grow unless and until the support is there for the creeper. You must have seen, it's a very common creeper of seeing a money plant at home. You know, most of us may have that money plant. So this money plant, it will grow tremendously if we keep on tying that money plant or nailing that money plant and tying it with some thread. Okay. So when we give a support to this money plant, this creeper grows. Okay. Similarly, Chakravarti Pad says that this Bhakti Devi, she is also a creeper. She is not some tree. She is in a form of a creeper because constantly, no matter that creeper may start yielding fruits and flowers, but still that creeper will be needing this support to grow. Similarly, the Bhakti creeper also need that support, and that support is known as the association of like-minded devotees. Even if somebody can be on the stage of bhava and prema, where this bhakti creeper start yielding fruits and flowers, still that association of like-minded devotees, the association of sadhu is very important. Example is given of Srila Bharat Maharaj. How Bharat Maharaj, who was practically on the level of bhava, because of being bereft of the like-minded devotees, because of the being bereft of the association of like-minded devotees, got so much attracted. His virtue of being so compassionate, because devotees are very compassionate. So his virtue of being compassionate leads him to a fall down, apparent fall down of having a dear body. So it has to be very clear that this Bhakti Devi, she is in a form of a creeper, which requires constant association of devotees, no matter the creeper may be on its highest stage of yielding fruits and flowers. Okay, so this has to be understood. Now, how, if somebody can ask, okay, so you are saying that it's a creeper, but creeper cannot appear without a seed. So where does this bhakti creeper gets the seed? So in that, it's a famous verse we all know, Brahmande Brahmite Kauna Bhagyavana Jiva, Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Bija. Okay. And when this bija is given by Guru and Krishna, by the mercy of Krishna, by wandering in this 14 planetary systems non-stop, we are wandering in this universe in different species, in 8,400,000 species. And by the causeless mercy of Guru and Krishna, when we get the seed of this wish-fulfilling bhakti creeper, then Mali hoya kare sai bija arpana. Then we become the gardener and we sow the seed in the fertile land of our heart. That fertility of land represents the faith. Then we become the gardener and we sow the seed. And then Shravana Kirtana Jale Khoraya Sechana. Then uska sanchan karte hain. Then we start working on that seed by nourishing it with sunlight and water. That is Shravanam and Kirtanam. And then what happened? The seed starts sprouting. Okay, it starts sprouting. The seed starts sprouting because we have been nurturing it. First of all, we are sowing it in the fertile land of our heart. That is the faith. And then we start nurturing it by hearing and chanting of Krishna's holy name. Then what happened? The creeper sprout and starts bearing some root, because it needs some root also. And then we tie this creeper with the association of devotees. And then with the association of devotees, the creeper grows and yields fruits and flowers. And that is what is known as Shuddha Bhakti. So first of all, we will look on Shuddha Bhakti, then we'll talk about Sadhana Bhakti. So what are the three features of Shuddha Bhakti? So he says that which brings Sri Krishna, the object of bhakti, satisfaction or pleasure, is the life and soul of bhakti. So first feature is that this bhakti creeper becomes the life and soul for the devotee, and Sri Krishna, he becomes the object. Okay, so anything that the devotee does or desires is for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. That is known as Shuddha Bhakti. Now someone can ask, why a devotee has to desire to attain Bhagavan? Attaining Bhagavan and attaining anything actually boils down to a desire. So why the devotee needs to desire? Yes, the devotee needs to desire, but to attain Bhagavan. The answer that gives is the second feature, that desire that manifests within the devotee to attain Krishna is only to give happiness to Krishna by serving him. They don't want to attain Bhagavan so that their senses get satisfied, or they can claim to the world that they are on such a pure level. They desire to attain Bhagavan is also for the happiness of the Supreme Lord, to give happiness to the Supreme Lord so that they can serve the Supreme Lord. Then the question may ask that, okay, if the devotee does not desire bliss, so in the second, the devotee is desiring bliss, but if the devotee doesn't desire bliss, then he will not attain it. Very common, because what will happen if you desire to attain Bhagavan? If we have that desire to attain Bhagavan, the devotee desire is to give happiness to the Bhagavan by serving the Lord. But by serving the Lord, what happens to the devotee? The devotee gets happiness. The devotee gets bliss. So if the devotee does not desire bliss, then he will not attain that bliss. And that gives the third feature, that although the devotee never desires for anything for his own happiness, but he definitely receives that happiness by serving Krishna. And this is known as Prema Bhakti or Shuddha Bhakti. And the highest example is Srimati Radharani, and all the gopis of Sri Vrindavan Dham. Because for them, the Krishna, Lord Shri Krishna, is the object of their work. Whatever they do it for Lord Shri Krishna. The satisfaction or the pleasure in life they get is all for Lord Krishna. They want to attain Lord Shri Krishna so that they are not enjoying. They want to participate in Rasa Leela, not to enjoy, rather to give happiness to the Supreme Lord. Okay, so once they are participating in Rasa Leela to give pleasure to the Supreme Lord, they are also getting happiness. But the happiness, what they are getting, they are not desiring for that happiness. That happiness that they are getting is just a byproduct of serving Krishna. Because they are serving all blissful Lord Shri Krishna, naturally they will also experience that transcendental bliss. Okay, this is known as Prema Bhakti. This is known as Shuddha Bhakti. So these are the three features that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes. So then someone can say, okay, this bhakti process, we have already said that it is self-manifesting and it is self-illuminating, it is independent. But why this wonderful process of bhakti, or why this features of Shuddha Bhakti will appear in the heart of a materialistic person? I'm saying materialistic person, not like materialistic person, but in the heart of the material senses of the pure devotee, because even the senses that the devotees have is also categorized as material. So why something which is self-manifest, which is supremely independent as the Supreme Lord, will appear in the material senses? Then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, yes, it appears in the material senses, and then what does it do? It gradually purifies it. It makes it spiritualized. Example is given, just like iron, when it's put into the hot fire, the blazing fire, then the iron bar, it takes the quality of that fire. So now that iron bar is no more an iron bar, it becomes a fire. So when this Bhakti Devi manifests in the material senses of the devotees, of those devotees who are very pure and who perform unalloyed devotional service, then they get the quality. Even their body also gets spiritualized. Diksha kale bhakta kare atma samarpan, sai kale Krishna tare kora atma samarpan. When at the time of initiation, the devotee 100% surrenders to the Supreme Lord, at that time, the Lord makes him equal to himself. That means all the good qualities are bestowed onto that devotee. So these are the three features of Shuddha Bhakti. Now we will see the second part, which is Raga Bhakti and Vaidhi Bhakti. Now we have already seen Shuddha Bhakti. So we are left with Sadhana Bhakti now. Now Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying that Sadhana Bhakti are of two types, Raga Bhakti and Vaidhi Bhakti. Okay, so when we read Nectar of Devotion by Rupa Goswami, there also he mentions that don't think that Vaidhi Bhakti may lead to Sadhana Bhakti, Raganuga Bhakti, or Raganuga Bhakti is what we all should desire for. No. Raga Bhakti and Vaidhi Bhakti, they are the two types of Sadhana Bhakti only. They both are categorized in the section of Sadhana Bhakti. So what we have is Sadhana Bhakti and Shuddha Bhakti. Sadhana Bhakti is Raganuga Bhakti or Vaidhi Bhakti, and Shuddha Bhakti is what is known as Prema Bhakti. So the features of Shuddha Bhakti or the Prema Bhakti we have already seen. But now we will go into Sadhana Bhakti. And Sadhana Bhakti, there are two types, Raga Bhakti and Vaidhi Bhakti. But in both the cases, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that when this sadhana process is started, then the seed, when it is sown in the heart of a fertile heart of the devotee, and when it is nourished by hearing and chanting, then the seed starts sprouting. Okay. And when the seed starts sprouting, we see two leaves. Okay. We see two leaves, the first two leaves coming out from that seed. And these two seeds are what is known as, see, sadhana bhakti, then we have Vaidhi bhakti and Raganuga bhakti. And then in both the cases, when the seed starts sprouting, then comes klesha gnatva and shubhadatva. Okay, so these are the byproducts. These two leaves that is coming out from that seed of bhakti is what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying, that one leaf is klesha agni and the second leaf is shubhada. Okay, these are the two characteristics of devotional service. Okay, these are the two characteristics. So whether somebody is following Vaidhi Bhakti or Raganuga Bhakti, they both are the types of sadhana bhakti only. We are right now a sadhaka. Even if we are practicing Raganuga Bhakti, still we are sadhaka till the time we attain the Shuddha Bhakti or Prema Bhakti. So when these two bhaktis are practiced, then what happened? The first two leaves that come out is, the first leaves is klesha agni. Normally people say it as klesha agni. So it's not klesha agni. Okay, it doesn't give fire to the kleshas. Rather it is klesha gni. Gni. That's why in the presentation we mentioned klesha gnatva. Gnatva means to destroy. To destroy the kleshas. That's the first leaf that comes out. And actually, when the seed sprouts, simultaneously two leaves comes out. And those simultaneously two leaves are, one is klesha gnatva, means it destroy all the kleshas, all the sufferings, all the miseries. And the second is shubhadatva. Shubhadatva means shubhada, means to give all auspiciousness. All good qualities start manifesting in the heart of a devotee. So this we have to understand. We'll elaborate more on this. Let's see, but this is just the highlight that we have to understand. So now comes Raganuga Bhakti. So we'll first see what is Raganuga Bhakti, and then we will see what is Vaidhi Bhakti. So Raganuga Bhakti in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami quotes that Srila Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says this, Ragatmaka Bhakti Mukhya Vrajavasi Jane, Tara Anugatta Bhaktir Raganuga Name. So what is Raganuga Bhakti? Ragatmika Bhakti Mukhya Vrajavasi Jane. The devotion or the very essence of which is constituted of eternal ardent attachment, raga, within the self is known as Ragatmika Bhakta. And it is preeminently and splendidly manifest in the residents of Raja, only in Vrajavasi. And then devotion that follows that Ragatmika Bhakti is known as Raganuga Bhakti. So we'll elaborate on this point. See, raga means attachment. Attachment for not anything mundane or anything material, but attachment for the Supreme Lord. Or other ways you can say the laulyam, the greed for service. When we say that we have anarthas, so those anarthas, right? Those anarthas can be dovetailed in the service of Supreme Lord. Similarly, the anartha of greed, it's an anartha. If we are greedy for anything material, then it is an anartha. But the same anarth can be used in the service of the Supreme Lord. And that is what is known as dovetailing. Okay. So when we are greedy of material things, we are devoid of Krishna's supremacy. But when the same greed is for the Supreme Lord, this laulyam, this greed, it becomes rag. It becomes attachment. It becomes attachment for the Supreme Lord. Okay, this is what is rag. Now, those who have this rag, who have this attachment, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saying that this attachment, this rag, can only be seen in Vrajavasis. Mukhyat roop se, mukhya Vrajavasi jane. It's not that it cannot be seen in others, but mukhyata roop se, primarily, it is seen in the heart of Vrajavasis. So therefore, these Vrajavasis, they are known as Ragatmika Bhakta. Right? And the bhakti that they practice is known as Ragatmika Bhakti. Because whatever they do it with rag for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, with attachment, with mamata. They have that possessiveness. Mother Yashoda has that possessiveness that Krishna is my child. He may be God for others, but for me, he is my son. Madhumangal, Sridham, and Sudham, they have this thinking, maybe Krishna be God for others, but for us, he is our friend. Right? In Madhurya Bhav, they can see that gopis can say, Krishna may be God, but we don't care. For us, Krishna is our lover. Okay? So this is how, because the Vrajavasis, in the different moods, they have this I-ness, this possessiveness of Krishna towards themselves. Therefore, the bhakti, the practice they follow is with rag, is with attachment towards Lord Shri Krishna. And therefore, they are known as Ragatmika Bhaktas, because they do it with rag. They have the attachment for the Supreme Lord. Okay, so Ragatmika Bhakti Mukhya Vrajavasi Jane. In Vrajavasi, primarily in the heart of the Vrajavasis, we see this Ragatmika Bhakti because they do it with attachment to the Supreme Lord. If somebody, Tare Anugata, if somebody follows that Ragatmika Bhakti, Bhakta, those who are practicing this Ragatmika Bhakti, if somebody follows that Ragatmika Bhakta, is what is known as Raganuga. Anuga means to follow. Tara Anugata Bhakti is Raganuga Name. So what is Raganuga Bhakti? Raganuga Bhakti is the bhakti that one gets by following the footsteps of Ragatmika Bhakta. For example, if somebody has so much Vatsalya Bhav towards Lord Shri Krishna, okay, if a devotee has a very Vatsalya Bhav towards Lord Shri Krishna, that devotee will naturally follow the Ragatmika Bhakta. And who is Ragatmika Bhakta? Is Nand Maharaj, Mother Yashoda, Rohini Devi. They will follow their footsteps. They will be in their Anugatya. Okay, it's not that they will take the position of Mother Yashoda and Mother Rohini or Nand Maharaj. No, it's just that they will assist them in the spiritual world. But now, because they have this nature of taking Krishna in Vatsalya Bhav, in the parental mood, taking Krishna as their child, they will follow this Ragatmika Bhakta of Mother Yashoda, who is Mother Yashoda, Nand Maharaj, and Mother Rohini. Because they are following this Ragatmika Bhakti towards Lord Krishna in Vatsalya Bhav. So this Ragatmika Bhakti can be either in parental, that is Vatsalya, can be in Dasya, can be in Sakhya, like the friends, and can be in Madhurya. We all know this, right? So those who follow these and establish the relationship and work with rag, they are known as ragatmika bhakta. And those who follow those ragatmika bhakta can be categorized of doing raganuga bhakti. Hope it is clear. Okay. Now, this is what is known as raganuga bhakti. Now we will come to what is known as Vaidhi bhakti. Okay. So Vaidhi bhakti, he says, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami mentions, Yatra ragatnatvat. Wo ragatvanat means that greed for that attachment or greed for that rag is not there. Pravattir upajayate, and it is impelled by some scriptures or by some dictations of rules and regulations. Sashaneve shastraya savidhi bhakti uchyate. That is known as Vaidhi bhakti. Bhakti is sometimes inspired by greed, then it is known as Raganuga bhakti. But when it is not inspired by greed and it is impelled by the dictates of the scriptures, then that bhakti, that devotion is known as Vaidhi bhakti, where we follow certain rules and regulations. So it is also very important. Instead of going directly and jumping into, rather, it is best that we should follow certain rules and regulations, because even Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Srila Rupa Goswami says that if whimsically we try to follow any ragatmika bhakta, considering, oh, I am in this mood, I am in that mood, let me follow him, let me follow her. If we just jump into that, then that will create only disturbance in the society. And we don't want that utpath to happen. That is what is sages do. They think that they have attained perfection and they are into some vatsalya bhav or madhurya bhav, and they start working on it without getting themselves 100% purified. And that's what Rupa Goswami is saying will create disturbance in the society. So we have to follow certain rules and regulations, get ourselves purified, and then with the mercy of Guru and Krishna, when we get this and we start developing that attachment, that rag towards Krishna, then in a particular phase, we can follow any ragatmika bhakta and achieve that raganuga bhakti. My Guru Maharaj, when I would always, not always, but sometimes when devotees ask him this question of getting Raganuga Bhakti, sometimes he will get really upset. And he will say, practice Vaidhi Bhakti, get yourself purified, and then think of Raganuga Bhakti. But sometimes devotees will ask, no, still Guru Maharaj, we want like what it is actually. And then Guru Maharaj will give a very simple example. And he says that you do Vaidhi Bhakti and you start be in the Anugatya of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. First of all, this Kali Yuga, he is the king of this Kali Yuga, if this kingdom known as Kali Yuga. Right? And in whosoever kingdom you are, you should worship the king. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the king of this Kali Yuga. So follow Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Vaidhi Bhakti, because when you are following Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Vaidhi Bhakti, indirectly you are following a Ragatmika Bhakta. Because who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is non-different from Radha and Krishna. Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahi Anya. So indirectly, you are also following Srimati Radharani. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he came, what he came to bestow? Anarpitam charim chirat, karunavatirna karo. What he has been bestowing, something which has never been bestowed in the past. He is bestowing that. And what is that? Ujjwal rasa. He is giving and coming us the Manjari Bhav. He has come to give us the Madhurya Bhav, the Ujjwal Rasa, Swabhakti Shriyam, which belongs to him only. It belongs to his treasure because he is in Srimati Radharani's mood. So Guru Maharaj would always say, follow Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. While following the Vaidhi Bhakti, you are following Ragatmika Bhakta only, and that will ultimately lead to Raganuga Bhakti. But mind it, we have already discussed that even if we are in Raganuga Bhakti, still we are in the stage of sadhana bhakti only. We have to intensify, we have to grow further so that we come to the level of shuddha bhakti. Okay. This is what it mentions about Raganuga Bhakti and Vaidhi Bhakti. Now comes that, okay, either we are doing Raganuga Bhakti or Vaidhi Bhakti. This Bhakti seed has sprouted. And when it gets sprouted, two simultaneously leaves come out. Okay. And these two leaves are Kleshagni and Shubhada. That means the miseries are destroyed and all auspiciousness is bestowed. Right? So next is what it mentions, Klesha. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, when he says the first leaf is Kleshagni, means the destroyer of all kleshas, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur wants to stress on this point that what are the 5 different types of kleshas. So we will see what are those 5 different types of kleshas. The very first klesha he mentioned is avidya, or lack of true knowledge. That is simply known as ignorance. Okay. And ignorance is never an excuse, never an excuse. It brings klesha. Someone can say, well, the child is ignorant of the heat of the fire. That doesn't mean the fire will not burn the child. The fire will still burn the child. Even though the child is ignorant of the heat that is produced from the fire, but still the fire will burn. So ignorance is no excuse. Lack of true knowledge is what is known as avidya. A state of consciousness. That is, what is avidya? When we start thinking that something which is temporary to be permanent. When we start thinking that my wife, my husband, my family, my child, my possession, my wealth, my car, my home, it's all belongs to me and it is eternal. It is not temporary. And we start associating the happiness with them to be our eternal happiness and their unhappiness to our eternal unhappiness. So this is known as, in a gross sense, known as ignorance. So any klesha, any sufferings that is coming out of it is because of avidya, because we have started associating, misidentifying ourselves with all these things. So therefore, the first type of klesha is avidya, the misery that comes out because of lack of true knowledge. Okay. Next is asmita. Asmita is false ego. False ego of thinking I and mine. Everything belongs to me and this possession is mine. These family members are mine. And if we start associating with it, we are developing that ahankar. And that ahankar will lead us to klesha, will lead us to misery. Okay. So first is ignorance and next is false ego. Having that false ego of aham and mamata. But having that same ego towards Lord Krishna leads to prema bhakti. When we start associating with Krishna, with rag, with I-ness, with minus, with possessiveness, then leads to prema bhakti. And that we will see in the 8th shower. When Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur will be talking about prema bhakti, he will also say that mamata, having possessiveness towards Krishna is also the type of prema. But right now, when we start associating with material things and getting that I-ness and minus, that is false ego, that will lead to a misery. The third is raga, as we have already seen. Rag with Krishna will lead to a raganuga bhakti, but rag with material attachments will lead to misery. Desire or attachment to the needs, means by which one procures pleasure or removal of distress, is what is known as rag. When we start thinking, okay, I have an attachment towards this. So if I lose, I will have misery. If I gain, I will have happiness. Attachment to mundane things is what is known as rag, which will lead to klesha, which will lead to suffering. Fourth is dvesha, envy. We are all very much familiar with this word. When we start getting hatred towards others, okay, when we start getting hatred towards others to an extent that we want to destroy others in order to come up onto the ladder, that is known as dvesha. That will also lead us to a misery, to a klesha. And the final is abhinavesha, that is mundane engagements, that is fear of death. When we start associating that all these mundane things will give me happiness, then losing those mundane things will give us some kind of fear. So to be strongly attached to one's body due to its being the basis of worldly pleasure, and to be terrified of death because of losing that happiness, losing that pleasure, that is known as abhinavesha. People are scared of death because they think that they will lose their worldly pleasures. Naturally, that will also lead us to klesha, because thinking process of losing something because of death and because of which they are terrified of death will also lead to a misery. So these are 5 types of kleshas. And Chakravarti Pad Thakur, Chakravarti Pad, he says that these 5 types of kleshas immediately get destroyed once the seed of bhakti is properly sown and nourished by hearing and chanting. So that means that just by chanting Krishna's name, we are bereft, we are deprived of all these 5 types of kaleshas. Okay. In this regard, Devahuti, she says to Kapila Dev, Yan Namadheya Shravanadi Kirtanad. That's the verse. I'm not quoting the entire verse. But what she says is that what to speak of a person, of a fortune of a person who sees the Lord face to face. Even a low-class person, a chandala, but when he is attached to hearing, yan namadheya shravanad kirtanad, when he or she gets engaged in hearing, chanting, praying, paying obeisances, remembering the Supreme Lord, when they do all these processes, they immediately becomes qualified. A low class or a Shudra person is not qualified to perform any religious activities or perform any sacrifices. But the moment that Shudra or a low class Chandal gets engaged into this process of hearing of Shravana, Kirtana, Smarana, Pada Sevanam, when they are engaged in all these processes, then they become most honorable. Example, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, we see how Haridas Thakur, he was born in a Mlecha family, in a Muslim family. People disregard that family, right? But because he was chanting, he was hearing, he was doing kirtan of Krishna's name, Mahaprabhu called him as Namacharya. He is an Acharya of Nam. He called him as Namacharya, gave him the Upadhi of Namacharya. And when there is a pastime that when Advaitacharya was also doing the Shraddha ceremony for his forefathers, the first plate is being to be given to a qualified Brahmana. But Advaitacharya gave the first plate to Haridas Thakur, because he thinks that nobody is more qualified than Srila Haridas Thakur. Why? Because he was constantly engaged in hearing and chanting of Krishna's name. So therefore, Chakravarti Pad says that all these different five types of kleshas are destroyed when the seed of bhakti is nourished by chanting and hearing and remembering Krishna's lotus feet. Then he says that yes, types of kleshas are there, but he also mentions that there are 4 stages of path that leads to klesha. even those 4 stages of pap also gets destroyed. That leads to this kind of kleshas. And what are those 4 paps? This we all know from Nectar of Devotion. First is our prarabdha pap. So that is, prarabdha is known as something which has already, we have committed, and the reactions are already there. Suppose I have, not suppose, definitely, I have done some pap in my previous life. Because of those pap, what happened? It has those sinful activity that I have done will yield to some sinful reactions. And that sinful reactions are known as our sanchit karma. Means something which has been accumulated by me. Now, out of those sanchit karma, out of those accumulated reactions of sins, some good things and some bad, some shubh and some ashubh, have been taken by Krishna randomly and have given me this body. Now, this body, when it is made up of certain shubh and certain ashubh, certain prarabdha karma that I have already there in my sanchit account, in my bank account, he has taken that and he has given this body. Now, once this body is made, then I am destined to suffer. Right? I am destined to suffer. But the reactions of my previous karmas, some reactions, some sinful reactions, they're already there. But Krishna has not taken everything. Okay? He has taken few and he has given as a prarabdha karma. And that I will suffer because I got this particular type of body. So that is prarabdha. Something which we have got in this body, but it started manifesting, and it will manifest in my entire life. Okay, that is what is known as prarabdha. Next is aprarabdha. Aprarabdha is that which has not fructified yet. Okay, some actions I have done in my previous life which are destined to get a sinful reaction to it, but have yet not materialized, have yet not fructified, have yet not yielded some results. That is known as aprarabdha. Okay, aprarabdha is not that sanchit karma which has already fructified, but Krishna has taken few and given me. Rest bank account is still there. But there is a prarabdha which I have done some sinful activities, but the reactions have yet not fructified. It will fructified in future. But Krishna has yet not counted on it, but it is there. It is there. And that is known as aprarabdha karma. The third is rudapa, also known as kuta. This is in the subtle form. Whatever wrongdoings what we have done, it will be there in the subtle form, and eventually it will become a seed for us to act on it and yield further fruits. So this ruda papa or kutam is known as the propensity, the impressions that I've been carrying from my past life, and those impressions will propel me to further act on them, and it will give further results and to it, whether it may be good results or bad results. So this is known as the propensity. And finally is the bead in the seed form, in which our desire is still underlying but has not acted upon, and it is lying in the form of a seed. It will be acted upon if I desire as per my free will or as per the will of Bhagavan, because he is the permitter and he is the sanctioner. Okay, so these are the 4 types of papa that leads to misery. One is prarabdha, aprarabdha, kuta, and bija. In Nectar of Devotion, Rupa Goswami has described this. You can see this chart. So first we have because of ignorance only. Because of ignorance, we do some sinful actions. Okay, we have that desire to do that sinful actions. So this desire comes us in the form of a beej. Now we start acting on this desire. And because of we commit some pap, which will, that is means we have started acting on that beej and it becomes a sinful action. Now every action will have equal and opposite reaction. So this will lead to reactions. And this reaction will be prarabdha and aprarabdha. In prarabdha, those actions, those reactions have already manifested by getting a particular type of body, by taking birth in a particular country, by having a particular type of siblings, parents. These are all because of a prarabdha. The color, the feature of the body, the color of the body, the parents, the siblings, the country, all that is associated with this body is because of this prarabdha. And then it also leads to aprarabdha, which has yet not manifested. But because it has yet not manifested, it will give us the propensity to act upon. And that is known as kutam. And this kutam, when it will give the propensity to act upon, it will further lead to bija, the desire to act on those sinful things. And then, so it's a vicious cycle. It's a concentric cycle that goes on and on. And when this sinful action comes as prarabdha and aprarabdha will lead to kutam, whereas prarabdha will lead to suffering. So whatever suffering that I'm facing, it's because of my prarabdha. So this is the cycle. Now, how to break this cycle? Either we can break it at this point itself, before this circle goes on and on. So we can break it here only because avidya, ignorance, is the cause of that sinful desire. That desire to enjoy separately from Krishna is coming because of ignorance. So here we can break itself by thinking, by getting knowledge, by getting the divya gyan from a bona fide spiritual master, of understanding that I am not the one who is controller. I am not the one who is the proprietor. Rather, I am the servant of Lord Shri Krishna. Jivere Swarupa hoy nitya Krishna das. If we break this rule here itself, that means we will be in knowledge. And once we are in transcendental knowledge, we know what is sinful and what is not sinful. So something which is sinful, we will not even desire, forget about acting on it. Okay. This is the very first place in which we can break this cycle. The second place, if somehow we have gone to this portion of getting that sinful desire, somehow or other, then before moving forward and getting into this vicious circle, we can cut off here only by tolerating those sinful desire and not acting upon it. Once we acted, this circle is never ending. So the another place where we can work on it is to tolerate those sinful desires. Even though sinful desires are coming, we should tolerate them and make it a point that no matter how much mind instigate us, but still we are not going to act upon it. Then there is a probability that we can stop this vicious cycle. Otherwise, it will lead to sinful action, which will lead to prarabdha and aprarabdha, kutam, bija, and this will go on and on. So two ways, either get that divya gyan, no, do not be in ignorance, or somehow, even after getting transcendental knowledge, there is some sinful desire, then don't act on it, tolerate it. Okay. So this is the cycle. But our Acharya says that everything, even this aprarabdha, prarabdha, ruda, bija can be destroyed if we do devotional service of the Supreme Lord. Aprarabdha, this is from Padma Puran. Aprarabdha phalam papam kutam bijam phalan mukham karmeva praliyeta Vishnu bhakti ratatmanam If we have that undeviating, unflinching, unmotivated, uninterrupting faith towards Lord Krishna, and if we are engaged in his devotional service with full attachment to the Supreme Lord, then all these 4 types of sinful reactions get destroyed in sequence. That first our aprarabdha, something which has yet not manifested, will be destroyed. Aag lag jati hai usko. It gets into fire, it blazes in fire, the fire of our attachment towards Lord Shri Krishna. That aprarabdha which has yet not manifested, it will get destroyed. When aprarabdha is destroyed, that means the accumulated stocks of sin which are lying in a dormant condition has yet not fructified. Then kuta, the propensity to perform further also gets destroyed. And when the propensity is destroyed, naturally the bija also gets destroyed. Then that seed will be like a frying seed. When you fry a seed, then no matter how much you sow in a fertile land and how much you nourish with sunlight and water, it will not fructify because that seed is fried. So with hearing and chanting, we fry that seed. Therefore, that seed doesn't sprout. That seed of sinful desire doesn't sprout. And then he also says that even the prarabdha also gets destroyed. Now, this is the tricky point because Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also says that the prarabdha doesn't get destroyed. But in this verse, he's saying from Padma Puran that prarabdha also gets destroyed when somebody is wholeheartedly engaged in pure devotional service of the Supreme Lord. Now, what does this mean? That even the fructified sins also gets destroyed. So remember when I told about this prarabdha, I said that this is the sanchit karma which have already yielded the results of my sinful actions. Now those sanchit karma, out of those, Krishna has taken few and given me this body. Now anything which is related to this body, which has already manifested, wo likha gaya hai, I have to bear no matter what. But the rest of the sanchit karma, which is also known as prarabdha karma, because it has already yielded the fruits, that sanchit karma, that go down of stock will be destroyed. Okay. But whatever I am supposed to bear after getting this material body, that I have to bear. Okay. That we all have to bear. That is what is prarabdha. But the sanchit karma, the accumulated stock of all the fructified sinful actions in the form of reactions, that stock is also known as prarabdha. That will also be destroyed. So in nutshell, whatever is there, prarabdha, aprarabdha, bija, kuta, everything gets destroyed. But after getting this body, anything that is related to this body will manifest, and that will happen. But rest, everything is destroyed. That means we start off with a clean slate. Okay. So my past will determine my present. So my present will determine my future. So yes, in present, what I'm supposed to bear will happen. But if I take those happiness and miseries as a part of my karma and still move forward, then that means I'm securing my future. Okay, that means I'm reshaping my future. Therefore, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that karma is not eternal. Rest, all the 4 subject matter. Bhagavad Gita deals in 5 subject matter: Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, Kala, and Karma. All 4 are eternal. You cannot change Ishvara, you cannot change Jiva, you cannot change Kala, you cannot change Prakriti. Only thing that can be changed is karma. Therefore, we say that destiny is in our hand. When people say that you define your destiny, is how you act in your present will determine your future. So in present, if I take full shelter of the Supreme Lord and perform devotional service, I am securing my future. So therefore, this klesha agni, doing this devotional service, all the kleshas, all the prarabdha, aprarabdha, kutam, bija, everything gets destroyed. My God, it's already 12:09. I'll keep it short. Next, it comes our Shubhada. Okay, we have already discussed about Klesha Agni. Agni means to destroy the Kleshas. Now comes the auspicious quality. Shubha Da. Da means to bestow. And Shubha means all auspiciousness. So all auspiciousness is bestowed when we do bhakti. And that is known as Shubha Da. Okay. So here we have few verses to it. Let's see the very first verse. It's from Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela. Sarva Maha Guna Gana Vaishnava Sharire Krishna Bhakti Krishna Guna Sakala Sanchare. A multitude of exalted virtues started residing in the body of Vaishnava, and all the transcendental qualities of Krishna are transmitted to his bhakta. So Krishna's qualities gets transmitted to the bhakta, and therefore all auspiciousness started arising. Okay, so we see that when we start practicing the devotional service, the very first thing happened to us is that we lose interest in our material friends and in our material activities. We start losing, just as a practicing bhakta in a very, very neophyte stage, we start losing interest in mundane songs, in Bollywood songs, in movies, in all those material world and all those material friends. We start losing. This is the start of effect of that first, that sprout of the leaf that has start yielding some results. And this is the disinterest that we get in material things. And then what happened? Krishna Pada Padma Gandha Se Jana Paya Brahma Loka Adi Sukhe Dhara Nahi Bhaya. And when we get a chance on the fragrance of getting Krishna's lotus feet, just a whiff, just like a whiff, if we get that much amount of the fragrance of Krishna's lotus feet, Brahmaloka Adi Sukha, even getting the planet of Brahmaloka, it cannot satisfy. Tare nahi bhaya, hame nahi bhata. We don't feel any pleasure even getting that Brahmaloka. The moment we are attached or we get just a whiff, a chance of fragrance to smell that fragrance of Krishna's lotus feet. So this is how the good qualities start manifesting. Then we know this verse from Bhagavatam. Yasyati bhaktir bhagavati akinchana sarver gunas tatra samaste sura harav abhaktas kuto mahat guna manorathas naiti dhavato bahi. Very famous verse. Yasyati bhaktir bhagavati akinchana. If somebody is performing that unalloyed devotional service, unmotivated, uninterrupted devotional service unto Lord Krishna, sarver guna, all the qualities will start manifesting in the heart of those devotees. Samasta sura means all the qualities of the demigods, and even Krishna himself will start manifesting. Harav abhaktasya kuto mahat guna. But those who are abhakta, those who are non-devotees, can there be any good quality in them? How can? Kuto mahat guna is asking a rhetorical question, that how come a person who is a non-devotee, who has no faith in Krishna's devotional service, how can that person have a good quality? No, there will be no good quality. Rhetorical question means the answer is embedded in that question. So when he's saying harav abhaktasya kuto mahat guna, how can there be a good quality in a materialistic person? The answer is yes, there is no good quality. Why? Manorathar nesivi dhavato bahi. Because their mind, the chariot of the mind is always running for worldly pleasure. Dhavato, हमेशा भागता ही रहता है. The mind of their chariot, the materialistic people, those who are non-devotees, their mind is always running after material aspirations. They are running after material or worldly desires. So naturally, they will not get any good qualities. Whereas those who are into this devotional service, all the good qualities, sarver guna tatra samasta sura, will manifest in the heart of a pure devotee. Now, these transcendental qualities have been discussed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so we'll quickly go through them. Say Saba Guna Haya Vaishnava Lakshana Saba Kaha Nagjai Kori Digdarshan. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, while describing these transcendental qualities, he is saying that there are many lakshana, many qualities are there in the Vaishnava. Sabe kaha naha jaye, but I cannot tell you everything. Kori dig darshana, but I can tell you few of them. And few transcendental qualities that a devotee possess by doing devotional service, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling. Kripalu. Kripalu means he becomes very, very compassionate in nature. Okay. Then comes Akritra Doha. Akritra Doha means he becomes very humble. Very humble he becomes. He doesn't do any droh to others. He doesn't raise his voice to others. He becomes a very Akritra Droha means he becomes very, very humble. So first is Kripalu, and then it comes Akritra Droha. Then comes a Satyasad. He becomes the essence of all truthfulness. Okay. Sama means he becomes equal to all. He starts seeing everybody to be the Krishna's, to be saying that Krishna is there in the heart of everybody. He starts seeing that equanimity in all the living beings. Then comes Nirdosha. Nirdosha means Nidosha. Nidosha means that he becomes faultless. Then he becomes Vadannaya. Vadannaya means he becomes very, very magnanimous. Then Mridu. He becomes very, very mild, very soft in nature. Shuchi. Shuchi means clean. He becomes clean. Clean externally and clean internally. Then comes the word akinchana. Akinchana means he doesn't have any material possessions. And even if he has material possession, he doesn't have that I-ness and minus towards those material possessions. He becomes akinchana. Then sarva upakaraka. Sarva upakaraka means he is always thinking good and good welfare of others. He is always wishing best for others, working always for the welfare of others. Then he becomes Shanta. Shanta means he becomes peaceful. Then Krishna Eka Sharana. Krishna Eka Sharana means he always takes surrenderance to Lord Shri Krishna. Krishna will become his Eka Sharanam. He will not surrender or he will not follow any other process, but Krishna, he'll surrender only to Krishna. Akama, he'll become desireless. He doesn't have any desire, any material desire. Aniha. Aniha means he becomes indifferent to all the material possessions he has. Okay, he has that material possessions, but he doesn't get attached to it. Then sthira. Sthira means he becomes fixed. Sthita dhir muni. Yeah, he becomes sthir. Then vijita satguna. Satguna means all those bad qualities that is there. Kam, krodh, lobh, moh, mad, matsarya. He becomes vijita. He becomes victorious over all these 6 anathas. So he becomes jitendriya, right? Meetabhuk. Meetabhuk means the quality of eating what only as much as required. Means he doesn't do atyahar. He doesn't overeat. Meetabhuk. Then apramatta. Pramatta means becoming mad or becoming intoxicated. Apramatta means he becomes very, very like there is no madness that prevails. Now this madness is the mundane madness, not the madness one we perceive after chanting. That is pramata, which is a quality. But apramata means that he doesn't have that material madness. Madness over possessions, madness over work, madness over things. Then manada. Manada, da means again to bestow. Mana means he gives he gives respect to everybody. Amanina manadena. Then amani, again next is that he is without any false prestige, that everybody should worship me or everybody should honor me. Amani manadena. Then Gambhira, he becomes grave. Then Karuna, he is very, very compassionate. Maitriya, he is friend to everybody. Kavi, he becomes a poet. Daksha, he is very expert in everything. Like my Guru Maharaj would always say that Hare Krishnas do everything first class. So they become expert in whatever they do. And Mauni, and they are silent. Silent because they always introspect. Rather talking more, they become maun, they become silent, they introspect. So these are the qualities that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu describes. So we have already discussed, so I'll skip this. Now, next the question comes. The last part, and it will be done in 5 minutes. So now Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying that these 2 leaves are coming out. But he's saying that these 2 leaves simultaneously comes out. It's not that when the bhakti seed sprouts, then 1 leaf comes and then the second leaf comes. No. He's saying that simultaneously these 2 leaves come out. Now the question arises whether what happens first? Kleshagni happens first or Shuddha happens first? There should be a subtle difference, like the twins, they are born, right? So apparently it looks like they are twins, but there is a subtle difference of seconds that one baby comes out after second, right? So here people can say that actually there should be some subtle difference. Kuch to pehle hota hoga, and that makes sense that first the removal of miseries should be there, only then the good qualities are bestowed. Then how come we can say that simultaneously these 2 things happen? How to understand this? And to this, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur quotes a very beautiful verse from Srimad Bhagavatam that describes this, that how the simultaneously of removal of misery and the attainment of auspiciousness happens when somebody is on the path of sadhana bhakti. And that he says, भक्ति परेशानु भाव विरक्ति अन्यत्र चैसे त्रिका एक काला प्रपद्यम सा यथांशनु सुवस्तुष्टि पुष्टि शुद्ध आपनो घनसाम. So he is giving a very beautiful analogy. So this is from Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 2nd chapter, where Nimi Maharaj is asking, and one of the Yogendra, whose name is Kavi, he is responding. So he is saying bhakti. First word is devotion. Then pareshanu bhavo. Pareshanu bhavo. Para isha. Para isha means the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Anubhava means unka anubhav hona. To have that perception of the Supreme Lord. So doing devotional service, and after doing devotional service, naturally we'll get some perception of the Supreme Lord. But no, he is saying devotion, the perception of the Supreme Lord, and virakti. That means the detachment. Everything comes simultaneously. Trika eka kala. At one point of time only all these 3 things will happen. When somebody starts doing devotional service, so that means that bhakti has manifested. Along with that bhakti, that anubhav, the perception of the Supreme Lord will happen, and automatically detachment will happen. It will happen all together, will happen simultaneously at one point. When prapadyamanasya, when somebody takes the shelter of the Supreme Lord. Yathanshnata. Yathanshna means in the same way. How? Ashnata, when somebody is eating. So he's giving an analogy that all these 3 things happen when somebody takes shelter of the Supreme Lord. Yatha ashnata syus. Just like while in the process of eating. So when a hungry man and he gets some food and he starts eating, then immediately what happened? Tushti, pushti, shuddha apayo nughana ghasam. The very first morsel, ghasa means with very first morsel that person eats. What happens? Tushti, he gets satisfaction. Pushti, he starts getting nourishment. And shuddha apayo, his shuddha means his hunger is also eradicated. So just like when a hungry person is given a plate full of prasadam and he starts eating, so with every morsel of food that the person is eating, immediately will start giving tushti, will start giving satisfaction, will start giving pushti, will start giving nourishment, and shuddha payo. Shuddha payo means that immediately that hunger, that shuddha will also be destroyed, will be eradicated. With every ghasam, with every morsel. So devotion, direct experience of the Supreme Lord, and detachment from other things, virakti, these three occur simultaneously for one who has taken shelter of that Supreme Lord. Prapadya manasya, with all the mind, body, words, when somebody surrenders, all these three things happen. How? In the same way that pleasure, nourishment, and relief from hunger comes simultaneously and increasingly with every morsel, with each bite, for a person who is engaged in eating. So just like a person who is engaged in eating will get tushti, pushti, shuddhapayo, similarly, the person who is engaged in devotional service, that bhakti, parishanu, bhava, virakti, all three will manifest simultaneously. So therefore, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying that when the seed of bhakti gets sprout and the two leaves come out, it comes out simultaneously. Simultaneously, the misery is destroyed and the good qualities are bestowed in the heart of devotees. Okay, so we will stop here, and next Friday we will see something again amazing, where Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur will take us to the point of starting our sadhana bhakti from Shraddha, and he will explain what is Shraddha. So we'll stop here. Thank you all so much. Again, I took 26 minutes extra. I want to complete this section. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur ki jai, Madhurya Kadambini ki jai.
Hari 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 Bol. What a wonderful class, Mataji. It's very interesting, Mataji. Can say how much we have prepared for to deliver this Madhurya Kadambini to us. Thank you so much for that, Mataji. First of all, and yeah, we have raised hands, but I also have this question in which you were showing that this slide of that prarabdha and aprarabdha karma, and after that, what is it? Rudra karma
Ruda.
and
Ruda means
Ruda.
Ruda.
Okay, so the following up is the bija, right?
Yes.
So that Ruda karma, I didn't understand, Mataji.
Ruda
So
is the
okay.
propensity to perform on those or to act upon those sinful desires. Sometimes even, we know that this is wrong, but there is some inclination, some hidden propensity is there that propels us that theek hai na, kar lete hain, kuch nahi hoga. That kind of attitude, that kind of propensity that has come from the Ruda Papa. And that Ruda Papa, why? Because from our past impressions, like the news also gives us that these days, that even long back, actually, I heard maybe 5-6 years back, I heard that even the celebrities, they have this tendency to steal. Okay, now they are celebrities, they have a lot of money, but still that tendency, the propensity to steal is there. And because of that propensity, even after getting that money, that they act upon this and they start stealing. So this is how it is, that this propensity will propel us to act upon our sinful desires. So this propensity also gets destroyed.
Okay, so that is the continuation of that cycle which you showed.
Yeah, it's cycle only, because that prarabdha, when we
prarabdha.
See, I'll go back to that cycle. Where I'm going. Share screen. Here it is. So you see, bija, there is a sinful desire that is known as bija. You start acting on this desire. You'll start acting on it. That means you are incurring some papa. Because it is sinful, you are performing sinful action. You have a desire to steal. You started acting on it, and because of which you perform that act of stealing. Okay. Now, once you perform the act of stealing, you will get prarabdh and aprarabdh, both. Okay. That prarabdh will manifest and will lead to suffering in this life. But there will be some reaction to that stealing which will be unmanifested, which will not manifest. Then those unmanifested will create that propensity, because this is just the impressions. We have been stealing in the past for so many lifetimes. So even in this lifetime, we will get that propensity to steal. We'll get that because of those impressions that we have been carrying. And those impressions are because of that aprarabdha, which have yet not manifested. Okay, but it might manifest in future. If we don't take shelter of Krishna, this aprarabdha will also manifest. So they will give us this kutam, this sinful disposition, this sinful propensity to further act on it. And then we will act, which will again create bija, which will again create the desire in the seed form. And then a cycle goes on. Hope that helps, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. So this aprarabdha reaction, which is there, so which you are saying is the impressions which we have in our past lives. So that will make us to do that action. That's what you said,
that will
right?
propel us. That will propel us to do that activity.
Okay. And first it will go into the seed form, and then which means the desire. Okay. So okay, that propelling is the
desire. Will create another desire.
Okay.
And this will go on and on and on and on.
Okay, Mataji, got it. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Preeti will ask me, Mataji.
Mataji, quickly 3 questions. So the first question is, when I don't know whether you meant to say something else, but I don't know if this is wrong, but all right, you wanted to say something else, or if I didn't understand it right. You were talking about both are sadhana bhakti, of course, Vaidhi sadhana or raganuga sadhana. But then I don't know if you made a statement saying that Vaidhi cannot become raganuga. Raganuga become Vaidhi.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I said Vaidhi can become, actually Vaidhi should become Raganuga. First we should practice in the Vaidhi Bhakti, and when we become 100% purified in Vaidhi Bhakti, then we can practice Raganuga.
So,
but once we are following Raganuga Bhakti, we should not think that I am in some elated position. We are still in the process of sadhana bhakti only.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Mataji. That was clarified. Then the second thing is about back to that chart, Kota Bijam. So is it okay to understand that Kota eventually always becomes Bija, because just like how Sanchita Karma eventually becomes Prarabdha Karma, similarly Kota always ends up to the stage of Bija, and then it becomes a reaction.
And when we act on that Bija, it becomes Papa.
Yeah. Okay. Then one more question I had. What was it? After the Kota Bijam process. About this Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur telling that generally we do have the Prarabdha Karma. But Prarabdha Karma ends at a point only when we don't react to those circumstances and then go on towards the end. It ends. How does that work? Can you repeat that section?
Yeah. So when we do some sinful actions in some lifetime, we will be entitled to get that sinful reactions. Now, those actions have already manifested in the sinful reactions. But those reactions have been stored in a storehouse. In our Now, those manifested sinful reactions, which are stored, they are in the form of a storage. Okay? And that is what is known as Sanchit Karma.
Hmm.
They have manifested, but now they are in a form of an account.
Mm-hmm.
But out of those, when we get this new body, the entire sanchit karma doesn't come on us.
Right. Mm.
Krishna will take few of them and give this particular type of body.
Right. Mm.
Now, once we got this body, and at that time, jo vidhi ka vidhan hai, means whatever is written, that at the 10 years of age, I will do this, I'll suffer this, 20 years, I'll suffer this, 40 years, I'll suffer this. We have to bear that no matter what.
Mm.
That will come upon us.
Mm. Gotcha.
But those which are still in the bank account, which are prarabdha only, which have already manifested, but have not yet given to us, they will be destroyed once we start doing devotional service.
So you mean to say, if I have taken birth and I have, like, for example, from that bag of sanchita karma, I have to undergo 50 percent, or say 50. Okay, just say, give a number, a handful. Okay. So I have to undergo 50. Now I've started undergoing 10, 20, 30, 40. Now at around 40, I have, now again, this is a clause, right? If my bhakti is like really pure and I have full surrender, then only all this is in action, right? Like, it depends on my intensity and my surrender to Krishna, right? So if that is all perfect, if everything, all the boxes are ticked, then whatever I'm supposed to get after that 41 or 42, that section is eradicated. That's
No, that will get. We will get that also, because
then
we will get that also, but we will get the strength to bear that.
That's what I'm asking. Yeah. So basically nothing changes. Just
Nothing changes. Whatever is there with this body, we will bear it. But once we get into Krishna, then we will learn how to deal with that situation.
Exactly. So our entire outlook, the way we handle these situations will be very different, because Krishna empowers us in that way. He takes care of us personally. So that, in that sense, the way we respond to the situation will be very different from a person who doesn't have this knowledge responds to the situation. That's what it is. That's why it is said that a pure devotee's karma is eradicated, in the sense that even his prarabdha is eradicated. So this is the understanding. Perfect.
Once we start taking process of Krishna's, like I read one of the quote, and it says, Krishna doesn't promise a stormless sea. That storm will come, but it provides an unsinkable ship. It will give us the strength to bear that.
Yeah. And the way we respond will obviously be different. So in that sense, it appears like as, oh, this person doesn't undergo any suffering, so there is no karma that way.
Yeah. And when we work accordingly with strength, with keeping Krishna in the center and deal with that storm, that means we are securing our future also.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Very nice. Thank you. This was really wonderful session, as always. Thank you.
Yes, Parima Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, first let me thank you unlimited to you and both Bhakti Sanga to, introduce this Madhurya Kadambini. It's to even hear this in this lifetime, I consider it like, it's like a blessing, Mataji. So let me thank you and Bhakti Sanga.
Let me thank all of you. Because of you, I'm studying.
No, I mean, to retain this is like beyond me, honestly, but this is so interesting. I would probably want to hear this every day. But Mataji, there's one thing. I have two questions. One is about Vaidhi and Raganuga. Mataji, most devotees, after doing, initially we are all into, of course, Vaidhi, and we till the end we should follow a proper procedure. I do understand. But we do have an attachment and emotion for our deities, whatever way we have developed it. So is that the beginning of a Raganuga Bhakti?
That's the beginning of Raganuga Bhakti. When you start developing that emotions, and then you start meditating on that Ragatmika Bhakta of one of the Vrajavasi. That when you start developing the emotion that, oh, my Gopal, my Lala, my deity is in the form of a baby, and I start meditating on Mother Yashoda and Mother Rohini, then that's how it starts with our Raganuga Bhakti. And along with it, it can go with Vaidhi Bhakti. You don't have to explicitly to tell anybody, but Externally, we are doing Vaidhi Bhakti always, but internally we can be
Yes,
attached.
Rajan. Okay, then that is not Sahajya. Being
Yeah, that is not.
internally.
Oh, no. That is not Sajya. Rather, we should work on it. That's why it is said that Smaran is very important. That when you read Krishna Leelas, Krishna's childhood pastimes, or any pastimes, when you read Krishna's pastimes, then you should take few minutes of your 24 hours and start meditating on that pastimes.
Mataji, there are many books also actually
that
aid you.
Smaran is very important. And that Smaran will lead us, okay, to which form of the Lord or which relationship of the Lord I want to get established to. And then we can discuss it with our Guru Maharaj. All this will be revealed. This is what our Swarup Siddhi is. But right now, we are still not cleared of anarthas and start thinking that, oh, I am in this form and this. That is Sahajya.
But internally, if we kind of visualize ourselves.
We should do this.
Okay, that's great then. And Mataji, there's one more thing. What exactly you mean by fructifying? Means that you have to bear the fruit?
Yes, you have to bear the fruits. So right now, out of those 100, as Preeti Vilasni was mentioning, out of those 100, 50 is already given in this body. Rest 50 will have to manifest in my life. It will come. It will, rest 50 will also come. But if I've started my devotional service, then those 50 will be burned to ashes and it will not come.
Okay, but what I already got in this body, that I have to undergo.
We have to bear. No matter what.
Okay. All right, Mataji. Thank you so much. And in case I have some questions, Mataji, can I message you? Because I would want to hear this class.
Try to answer, Mataji, because trust me, I'm studying with all of you. So I'm not a scholar in this, but definitely I'll try to.
But you are way ahead and way senior to me. I will look
at. We are all in the same boat. All in the same boat. Please trust me. It's just that I've taken up this process of studying Madhurya Kadambini in great detail because of all of your association. But we are all
amazing. Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you very much. Dandavat pranams to you and everyone else on this call. Hare Krishna.
We will take the last question. Sindhu Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you for a wonderful class. You don't let even one word go. You make sure every word is explained with examples, and that's amazing. And the amount of effort you've put into this class, preparing the PPT and everything, I have no words. I just don't have words. And it is a rainfall shower only on all of us. And every time we stand under the shower, it's so blissful that we don't want to get out, right? One is Preeti Vilasini Mataji and you burst my bubble of being in Bhakti Cloud 9, that, I thought everything is washed out, as we keep going on in Bhakti, even the prarabdha is washed out. God help me. I have to hold on to the lotus feet of Krishna, because problems after problems, it is never ending. And it is, I was in cloud 9, Mataji, thinking that even prarabdha will be uprooted. Thank you for that clarification. This is the first time I'm hearing that, right? So it's going to take some time for me to digest and say, okay, Krishna, please be there with me. I'm going to face a lot of challenges. Thank you for that. This main question that I had is that Ruda or Kuta that you were talking about. I've heard about these impressions or vasanas on the soul. Is it the same thing that we are?
Yes. Okay. It's the same. Because of that vasana, we try to act on it. And that is what is Kuta.
Okay. But those vasanas, although it hasn't become a bija, it has attached itself to the soul, and it has come in, right?
Of course, that impressions will always be there.
I see. So it's almost like prarabdha. It is like prarabdha because it is attached to the soul, and it is in the manifestation or in what.
No, it's not in the manifestation form. It's still not manifested, right? So how can it be prarabdha? Prarabdha is something which has already fructified, which we are destined to follow, destined to get, destined to bear.
Correct. So
this Kuta impression is again our independent free will that Krishna has given, that it's up to us whether we act on it or not. Yes, impressions will be there, but if I have desired not to act on it, this impression will not yield any results on this life.
Okay. Okay. So, for example, the body that I have today, that is prarabdha, I have to go through certain things. I can never escape. Maybe some bad things or some good things, both good and bad, right? I cannot escape.
Of course, good and bad both.
But the skuta also comes, like the example that you gave.
Skuta is always there.
Okay.
Skuta is always there, which will keep propelling us to do. But now it's up to my devotion, that how strongly I am devoted to Lord Krishna, that if I become so much engrossed in devotional service, then this skuta will also go away. This impressions of doing any kind of sinful activity will also be washed away.
Okay. Only as I fuel the kuta will it become the bija.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Mataji. I will definitely chant for you for an extra round today, because you've given us so much. I can't even, express.
That's the best blessing I received. That's the best blessing. Thank you so much, Sindhu Mataji. But don't chant for me, just chant for your Krishna Bhakti and for all of us, so that we all can achieve that Prema Bhakti. Not only me, but everybody on the call should receive this Prema Bhakti.
Absolutely, Mataji. And you believe it or not, I'm in a place where I don't have physical association, right? So I was always asking Krishna, how am I going to get that association? And when I came into this Bhakti Sangha group, I was in ecstasy, right? And later, when I got association of Preeti Vilasini Mataji and you, I was like, Krishna, I just had a small desire. I didn't even, push you forward on that. Once in a while, I just had that desire, and you gave me such a beautiful association. And I'm really thankful to Krishna.
That's what is known as wish fulfilling creeper.
Absolutely, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sindhu Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
So
Thank you, Sindhu Mataji. I should say, Mataji, Kirtida Mataji, this Bhakti Sangha is our Bhakti Lata Bija. So that's where our Bhakti will sprout. That is the forum here. Thank you so much, Sindhu Mataji, for putting that forward. So, Kirtida Mataji, I think.
Mataji.
Yeah, Prahladan.
Can I take 1 or 2 minutes? Thank you very much. It was excellent class. The gist I have taken out of all this is one sloka of Srimad Bhagavatam. Because we are suffering in this material world, tattenu kampam susamixmano bhunyang evat muktam vipakam radvag vapur vidhan namaste jivetyu mukti padsadeva. So if we stick to this bhakti, whichever stage we are, we'll become legal inheritor of Krishna's Bhagavan's mercy. This is what I take away from today. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, we tolerate everything and fix ourselves in Krishna's devotional service. Krishna will help us. Okay, we have a question from Anand Vilas Das, Prabhu. Sadhana and Vaidhi are different processes? No, Prabhu. Sadhana, Bhakti have this Vaidhi Bhakti and Raganuga Bhakti. So it's not that sadhana and Vaidhi are two different processes. Rather, Vaidhi is part of that sadhana process. So when we say sadhana bhakti, we mean Vaidhi Bhakti and Raganuga Bhakti. I hope it helps. Okay, thank you all so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna. With your permission, we can end the call here.
Yes.
Vanchakal पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः।
कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, श्री
प्रभुपाद की जय,
हर ग्रेट
Kirtida Sundari Dasi
माता जी की जय,
माता जी की जय।
Assembled
माता जी, very nice class indeed.
हरे
Dandvat pranam.
Thank you, Mataji. Happy Women's Day to everyone. Hari Bol.
Oh yeah.
Krishna.
All the great women of Bhakti Sangha. Hari Bol.